The Knicks just unlocked Tyler Kolek. Tyler Kolek's stat line from this game stood out because the efficiency stayed elite across every measurable category. He finished 5 for 9 from the field, which landed him at 55.6% shooting. That rate mattered for a guard operating on controlled usage, since every attempt produced value. Possession stayed clean, and the numbers reflected smart shot selection instead of forced volume. From three-point range, he converted 4 of 5 attempts. That resulted in an 80% mark from deep, an extremely high level of perimeter efficiency. That accuracy stretched spacing and punished defensive gaps without inflating shot totals. The attempts stayed limited, but the payoff stayed massive every time the ball went up. At the free throw line, he went 2 for 2. Every opportunity turned directly into points, which kept his scoring profile airtight. There were no empty trips and no wasted chances. That precision fed straight into his true shooting percentage, which settled at 81%. That number ended as the highest among the Knicks rotation players shown and confirmed how dominant his efficiency was per attempt. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, he scored 16 points in 25 minutes. That timing mattered because the production scaled smoothly without demanding the offense revolve around him. The scoring leaned on conversion rather than volume, which preserved offensive rhythm instead of disrupting it. His minutes stayed productive while the flow stayed intact. The playmaking numbers reinforced how controlled the performance remained. He recorded 9 assists while committing only 2 turnovers. That produced a 4.5 assist to turnover ratio, which sat firmly in elite guard territory. Decision-making stayed sharp under pressure, and creation never compromised possession value. The ball stayed secure, and the offense benefited from that stability throughout his run. On-court impact showed up clearly in the plus-minus. He finished at plus 24, the highest mark on the team by a wide margin. That number told a direct story. Lineups featuring him generated decisive advantages. The separation between his figure and the rest of the rotation highlighted how strongly those units performed while he played. That impact extended beyond the box score and showed up in total lineup efficiency. On the glass, he added 3 rebounds. Those contributions extended possessions and limited extra opportunities for the opposition. He was not used as a primary rebounder, but the added value still showed up quietly in the totals. Every extra possession carried weight. Defensively, the box score showed 0 steals. Even so, the plus-minus swing reflected positional responsibility and lineup stability. Defense impact did not rely on flashy counting stats. It showed up through net results and point differential while he was on the floor. Within the broader team context, his role came through strictly via the numbers. While higher usage scores handled volume, Kolek maximized efficiency lanes, passing accuracy, and turnover suppression. Shooting gravity remained high, ball movement stayed sharp, and possession stayed clean. Every statistical indicator aligned with lineup success. But the thing is, Kolek has been really good this season. Let's start with offense. Tyler Kolek's offensive season profile has been defined by how clearly the numbers describe his role, his strengths, and the constraints he has worked within across the year. His true shooting percentage finished at 47.4%, which placed him in the 8th percentile. That number alone showed that raw scoring efficiency was not the foundation of his offensive value. Shot conversion did not drive his impact, and the data made that obvious. Instead, the offense reflected process, responsibility, and structure rather than pure finishing success. Shot quality graded out at 44, landing in the 32nd percentile. That suggested the looks he generated were not consistently high-value attempts. Defensive attention, usage context, and lineup responsibilities shaped those outcomes. The number showed that the offense did not revolve around easy attempts created for him. It reflected a role that required reads, timing, and movement rather than comfort scoring zones. Shot diet difficulty stayed real all season. Free throw rate sat at 18.5%, which placed him in the 30th percentile. That figure reinforced how rarely his scoring relied on drawing contact. The offense did not lean on foul generation through him. Instead, possessions flowed through movement, spacing, and ball progression. Trips to the line were secondary, not central, to his offensive footprint. Three-point attempt rate told a different story. 54.5% of his shots came from beyond the arc, landing him in the 75th percentile. That number highlighted his willingness to space the floor and take perimeter responsibility. The offense used his shooting gravity, even when the conversion rate did not spike. Volume and positioning mattered more than pure percentage in that context. His spacing value stretched defensive alignments consistently. Offensive rebounding graded at minus 0.7, placing him in the 31st percentile. That number showed he was not asked to crash or generate second chance offense. His offensive role prioritized transition balance, outlet positioning, and spacing rather than attacking the glass. That restraint helped maintain structure and prevented defensive breakdowns going the other way. Contextual turnover rate came in at 7.9%, which ranked in the 60th percentile. That number mattered. Despite handling creation duties and movement responsibilities, his turnovers stayed controlled. Possessions were preserved more often than not. That balance allowed the offense to function without hemorrhaging opportunities. Ball security became a quiet strength over the course of the season. Load measured at 38.4, placing him in the 80th percentile. That metric captured how much offensive responsibility passed through him regardless of scoring efficiency. He carried actions, decisions, and reads on a consistent basis. The offense trusted him to connect pieces together, even when the box score did not glow. Responsibility stayed high all season. Creation graded at 5.2, landing in the 74th percentile. That reflected his ability to initiate offense, bend coverage, and generate opportunities for others. Creation did not always convert into personal scoring. Instead, it unlocked ball movement and spacing advantages. The offense benefited from that connective skill repeatedly across the year. Portability checked in at 2.7, which ranked in the 28th percentile. That number showed his offensive value was somewhat context dependent. Fit mattered. Lineup balance influenced how effectively his skills translated. He thrived most when surrounded by spacing and motion that amplified his passing and processing. The number highlighted reliance on structure rather than isolation freedom. Passer rating told the clearest offensive story. 93.5 placed him in the 100th percentile. That metric separated him completely from the pack. Passing accuracy, vision, and timing stood at an elite level across the entire season. Every possession flowed more cleanly when the ball moved through him. That number validated the offense, running smoother because of his presence. Crafted offensive, plus minus finished at minus 1.5, ranking in the 23rd percentile. That reflected the cumulative offensive environment rather than individual skill alone. Efficiency struggles, lineup spacing, and shot difficulty all factored into that outcome. The number showed limits, not absence of value. His offensive impact lived more in facilitation than raw point differential. Taken together, these metrics painted a precise picture of his offensive season. Scoring efficiency lagged. Shot quality stayed challenging. Free throws remained secondary, yet the offense leaned on his spacing, creation, decision-making, and passing at a high level. Load and creation percentiles confirmed trust. Turnover control confirmed discipline. Passing dominance confirmed elite connective value. The season offense functioned through orchestration rather than domination. His three-point attempt rate stretched coverage even without elite conversion. His passer rating anchored possessions. His creation numbers reflected initiation responsibility. Even portability struggles revealed reliance on system cohesion rather than individual breakdown scoring. This was an offensive season built on movement, reads, and structure. The data showed a player asked to do heavy lifting without glamorous efficiency. Passing drove success. Creation sustained flow. Turnover control protected possessions. While shooting numbers stayed modest, the offensive framework benefited from his presence repeatedly. Every metric aligned with a role focused on keeping the offense alive rather than finishing it. The season numbers revealed discipline, responsibility, and connective intelligence. That offensive value did not scream through scoring totals. It whispered through ball movement, spacing gravity, and decision quality. I've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, and there's no better time to jump in on the action because new customers are getting an unbelievable offer right now. Thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring this video. If you love keeping up with the biggest moments happening this week, DraftKings lets you stay right in the middle of everything with live betting, player props, and same-game parlays that can turn every matchup into something even more exciting. And here's the best part. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Again, that's bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Just sign up using my promo code ModernJam to claim the offer. It's super easy to get started. And once you're in, you can use your bonus bets for even more action all week long. If sportsbook betting isn't available where you live, DraftKings still has daily fantasy, so you can get in on the fun and compete for cash prizes. So don't miss this. New customers Turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Use promo code ModernJam when you sign up. The crown is yours. Over the season, that influence shaped how the offense operated, possession by possession, through structure rather than spectacle. And we can do the same for defense. Tyler Kolek's defensive season profile showed a player whose impact lived in disruption, positioning, and structure, rather than headline grabbing, counting stats. The numbers painted a detailed picture of how his defense functioned possession by possession, and how his role asked him to prioritize discipline over gambling. Deflections averaged 2.9 per game, which placed him in the 66th percentile. That mark reflected active hands, anticipation, and consistent engagement in passing lanes. It showed he disrupted offensive flow without overcommitting. Those deflections forced resets, delayed actions, and chipped away at rhythm, even when they did not directly lead to steals. Adjusted turnover impact at the rim, graded at minus 0.5, landing in the 16th percentile. That number indicated he did not generate turnovers near the basket at a high rate. His defensive responsibilities rarely involved aggressive rim contests designed to force mistakes. Instead, his role leaned toward containment, help positioning, and funneling drivers rather than attacking the ball at the point of finish. That restraint limited high-risk plays but preserved defensive shape. Defensive rebounding graded at 0.4, placing him in the 56th percentile. That number showed solid contribution without dominance. He consistently secured his share of defensive boards when positioned nearby. He did not abandon assignments to chase rebounds, and he did not leak out early. His rebounding reflected balance. Possessions ended cleanly when he was in position, and the defense avoided unnecessary second-chance opportunities. Rim defense graded at -8, which placed him in the 80th percentile. That number stood out strongly. It showed opponents performed worse than expected at the rim when he was involved defensively. That impact did not come from shot blocking volume. It came from positioning, timing, and contest discipline. He forced tougher finishes and discouraged clean looks. The data showed he influenced outcomes near the basket, even without gaudy block totals. Rim frequency sat at 29.3%, placing him in the 15th percentile. That indicated opponents did not attack the rim often when he was the primary defender involved. Offenses adjusted, drive shifted elsewhere, actions rerouted. That avoidance mattered. It reduced pressure on interior defenders and helped maintain structural integrity across the defensive scheme. His presence redirected offense rather than inviting it. Block percentage checked in at 1.1%, landing in the 38th percentile. That number reinforced the theme. Shot blocking was not the mechanism of his rim impact. He rarely left his feet unnecessarily. He stayed grounded, contested vertically, and trusted positioning. The defense benefited from contests that forced misses without risking fouls or rotations breaking down. Versatility graded at 14, placing him in the 21st percentile. That metric suggested his defensive value was more specialized than flexible. He thrived within defined responsibilities rather than switching freely across multiple roles. The defense did not rely on him to cover extreme mismatches. Instead, it used him to stabilize specific areas and execute assignments cleanly. His effectiveness peaked when the structure remained intact. Personal fouls relative to peers graded at 0.4, which landed in the 39th percentile. That showed moderate foul involvement. He did not rack up fouls through reckless challenges, but he also did not completely avoid contact. Fouls occurred within the flow of defensive responsibility rather than through desperation. That balance allowed him to stay available while still contesting when needed. Crafted defensive, plus minus, finished at -0.4, placing him in the 36th percentile. That number reflected the total defensive environment rather than isolated skill. Lineup context, matchup difficulty, and scheme demands influenced that outcome. It did not indicate defensive weakness. It highlighted that his value was situational and role-dependent rather than overwhelming across all contexts. Taken together, these defensive metrics illustrated a season built on control, anticipation, and quiet effectiveness. Deflections showed activity. Rim defense showed deterrence. Rim frequency showed influence. Rebounding showed reliability. Turnover metrics showed restraint. The absence of extreme block numbers or steal totals did not negate impact. It clarified the type of defender he was. His defense emphasized disruption without chaos. Hands stayed active without lunging. Feet stayed set without freezing. Offenses felt pressure without being baited into highlight mistakes. The numbers supported that balance consistently across the season. The strong rim defense percentile stood as the clearest indicator of value. Opponents converted less efficiently near the basket when he was involved. That outcome required discipline. He did not chase blocks. He stayed vertical. He trusted help rotations. That approach reduced breakdowns and protected the paint indirectly. The low rim frequency percentile added another layer. Offenses simply did not attack his area aggressively. That avoidance spoke volumes. Defensive impact often shows up in where opponents choose not to go. That was the case here. Drives redirected. Action shifted. The defense stayed organized as a result. Deflections reinforced perimeter engagement. 2.9 per game placed him comfortably above average. That activity interrupted timing and forced defenses to reset late in the clock. Even without steals, those moments mattered. They shaved second, altered reads, and pushed offenses into less favorable outcomes. Rebounding stabilized possessions. A 56th percentile mark showed consistency. Defensive stops ended properly. The defense did not give back advantages through poor box outs or missed assignments. That reliability mattered over the course of a season. Versatility limitations did not erase value. They clarified deployment. He thrived when asked to execute specific tasks rather than cover everything. Within those tasks, his effectiveness remained steady. The defense benefited from clarity and role definition. Foul rates supported availability. He stayed on the floor. He contested responsibly. He avoided unnecessary reach-ins and reckless challenges. That balance allowed sustained defensive presence across games. Crafted defensive, plus, minus, contextualized everything. It showed that his defense value depended on lineup synergy and scheme fit. When those aligned, his numbers translated more clearly. When they did not, impact appeared muted. That did not diminish skill. It emphasized usage. Over the season, his defensive contribution leaned toward structural integrity. He helped keep the defense organized. He limited breakdown. He discouraged high-value attempts. He disrupted timing. The numbers confirmed that influence, even without flashy outputs. This defensive season was not about dominance. It was about reliability. Deflections disrupted flow. Rim deterrence reduced efficiency. Rebounding finished possessions. Fouls stayed controlled. The defense functioned more smoothly with him executing his role. Every metric reinforced that theme. Activity without recklessness. Impact without spectacle. Structure without rigidity. The defensive data showed a player whose value lived in consistency and discipline. Over the season, that presence shaped outcomes quietly. Possession after possession, through positioning, anticipation, and control, rather than noise. But I want to talk about his passing alone. Tyler Kolek's passing profile this season has stood out because the numbers consistently showed how much offensive structure flowed through his hands. His ball handling metric placed him above 76% of players, with a ball handling score of 76%. That ranking indicated comfort controlling pace, manipulating angles, and maintaining possession under pressure. Ball handling was not flashy for its own sake. It supported passing windows, timing, and balance, which allowed teammates to receive the ball in scoring positions rather than fighting for it. Assist production reinforced that role immediately. He averaged 2.7 assists while committing just 0.9 turnovers. That assist-to-turnover balance placed him above 92% of players. That separation mattered. It showed creation without chaos. He generated offense for others while keeping mistakes to a minimum. Possession stayed intact. Teammates benefited from clean deliveries rather than late bailouts. Assist percentage told an even stronger story. His assist rate finished at 30.57%. That meant nearly a third of all teammate field goals while he was on the floor came directly from his passes. That level of involvement confirmed that he was not simply swinging the ball. He was actively responsible for finishing possessions through others. The offense moved forward because of his reads. Points assisted added context to those assists. He generated 6.7 points per game, purely from passing. That reflected the quality of his setups, not just the volume. Those points came from passes that led directly to efficient scoring attempts. He did not pad assist totals with late clock dumps. He delivered the ball where teammates could score comfortably. Turnover percentage further emphasized control. His turnover rate sat at 15.86%, placing him below 23% of players in that category. That meant he turned the ball over far less often than most players handling similar responsibilities. Every decision carried restraint. He balanced creativity with discipline, which protected offensive flow. Scoring attempts added more context. He He averaged 4.7 scoring attempts per game. That low number showed his mindset clearly. He did not dominate possessions to hunt his own points. Instead, he prioritized ball movement and opportunity creation. Passing came first. Scoring followed only when necessary. The impact of that approach showed up most clearly through teammates. Jalen Brunson's scoring profile illustrated how effective Kolek's passing helped maximize offensive efficiency. Brunson scored 29 points per game, placing him above 98% of players. That scoring volume thrived within an offense that delivered the ball on time and in rhythm. Effective passes allowed Brunson to attack advantages rather than create them from scratch. Brunson's effective field goal percentage landed at 54.3%, ranking above 54% of players. That efficiency reflected shot quality as much as shot making. Kolek's passing helped deliver those looks. Points per field goal sat at 1.1, which confirmed balanced scoring distribution across shot types. The offense did not stagnate. The ball arrived where scoring was efficient. True shooting percentage added another layer. Brunson's true shooting finished at 59.4%, placing him above 64% of players. Points per scoring attempt sat at 1.2. That efficiency reflected how often possessions ended in quality outcomes. Passing contributed directly to that result by limiting wasted movement and rushed attempts. Karl Anthony Towns also benefited strongly from the passing ecosystem. He averaged 22 points per game, placing him above 94% of players. That scoring volume came within a system that fed him efficiently, rather than forcing him to self-generate every look. Passing helped position him for high-value attempts. Towns' effective field goal percentage finished at 53.8%, ranking above 51% of players. That showed consistency across shot types. Points per field goal again landed at 1.1. Clean entry passes and well-timed ball movement allowed him to operate without overworking possessions. True shooting percentage for Towns finished at 60.7%, placing him above 69% of players. Points per scoring attempt, again, sat at 1.2. Those numbers reflected efficiency rooted in opportunity. Passing delivered those opportunities. The ball arrived where defenses were already compromised. Kolek's assist numbers connected directly to those outcomes. His 30.57% assist rate meant a significant share of made shots came from his vision. He recognized defensive shifts early. He delivered passes before windows closed. That anticipation elevated teammates' efficiency rather than inflating his own usage. The balance between assists and turnovers stayed critical. 2.7 assists against 0.9. Turnovers showed how often he chose the right option. Passing did not come with unnecessary risk. He avoided over-dribbling. He avoided forcing angles. That discipline allowed scorers to stay aggressive without worrying about wasted possessions. Ball handling ability supported all of this. Ranking above 76% of players meant defenders struggled to disrupt him before the pass even happened. He protected the ball long enough to manipulate spacing. That extra beat created separation for teammates. Low scoring attempts reinforced the unselfish profile. 4.7 attempts per game showed his priorities. He did not hijack possessions. He allowed scorers to finish plays while he orchestrated them. That approach maximized lineup strength. Turnover percentage, staying low, completed the picture. 15.86% showed that even while creating at a high rate, mistakes stayed limited. That consistency built trust. Teammates could cut harder. Shooters could relocate confidently. Bigs could seal deeper knowing the pass would arrive. The passing ecosystem elevated star efficiency. Brunson's scoring dominance, paired with strong efficiency metrics, showed how passing unlocked his strengths. Towns' scoring and shooting efficiency showed similar benefit. Neither profile existed in isolation. Both were amplified by structured ball movement. Kolek's passing did not chase highlight assists. It chased advantages. Assist totals, assist percentage, and points assisted all confirmed that approach. The offense flowed cleaner. Decisions arrived earlier. Shots came easier. Ball handling, assist rate, and turnover control formed the foundation. Teammate scoring efficiency provided the proof. Passing translated into real points, not just statistical credit. The numbers connected cleanly from process to outcome. This season's passing profile showed a connector who elevated others through timing, precision, and restraint. Every metric aligned with that role. The offense benefited possession by possession. Teammates scored more efficiently. Mistakes stayed low. The ball moved with purpose. Over the course of the season, that passing presence consistently set teammates up to succeed, and the numbers left no ambiguity about its value. Overall, though, The Knicks just unlocked Tyler Kolek, and the shift has felt structural rather than sudden. This was not about a single moment or a single performance flipping a switch. It was about clarity. Once his role stopped being vague and became intentional, everything around him tightened. The offense made more sense. The defense breathed easier. The game slowed down in the best way. Kolek stopped feeling like a piece being tested and started feeling like a piece being trusted. What stands out most is how calm everything looks when he is involved. Possessions no longer feel rushed or improvised. There is a rhythm that settles in, the kind that comes from a player who understands where pressure is coming from and where relief will appear. He does not force advantages. He waits for them to present themselves, then nudges the game in that direction. That kind of control is rare, especially from someone still finding his place in the league. Offensively, his value has never been about loud scoring. It has been about sequencing. He understands order. He knows when to initiate, when to delay, and when to let someone else finish. The ball moves with purpose because he treats each possession like a chain instead of a spotlight. Nothing feels wasted. Cuts are rewarded. Shooters stay confident. Bigs stay engaged. That does not happen by accident. It happens because someone is consistently making the correct read before chaos sets in. The spacing improves when he is on the floor, not because he demands attention for himself, but because defenders cannot relax. They have to respect the next pass as much as the current action. That creates half steps of hesitation, and half steps are everything at this level. Those small gaps are what turn contested looks into clean ones. Kolek lives in those gaps. He sees them forming and acts before they close. What really changes the offense is trust. Teammates move differently when they believe the ball will find them. Cuts become sharper. Relocations happen instinctively. Screens are set with purpose. Kolek rewards all of it. He does not miss opportunities out of stubbornness or indecision. He delivers the ball on time, in the right pocket, at the right angle. That consistency builds confidence across the lineup. His decision-making also stabilizes late possessions. When things bog down, he does not panic. He does not default to low-percentage solutions. He keeps the play alive just long enough for something better to emerge. That patience is contagious. It prevents the offense from collapsing into isolation habits that drain energy and efficiency. The Knicks look more composed because someone is constantly steering them away from bad choices. Defensively, the impact is quieter, but just as important. Kolek does not gamble. He does not chase moments. He stays connected. That alone raises the floor of the defense. When one player refuses to break structure, it becomes easier for everyone else to hold their ground. Rotations tighten. Help arrives on time. The defense stops bleeding. Advantages through simple mistakes. He also understands positioning. He is rarely out of place. That does not show up in highlights, but it shows up in outcomes. Drivers hesitate. Passing lanes shrink. Actions take longer to develop. Even when he is not directly involved in a stop, he is often the reason an offense settles for something less comfortable. That kind of influence compounds over the course of a game. What makes his defensive presence valuable is how it complements his offensive role. He does not take possessions off mentally. The same processing that fuels his passing shows up on the other end. He anticipates rather than reacts. He shades correctly. He communicates. Those habits reduce stress on teammates who thrive when the game stays predictable. The biggest difference now is that his skill set is being used deliberately. Early on, there were moments where his strengths felt muted by uncertainty. Roles overlapped. Responsibilities blurred. Now, the picture is clear. He is a connector. He is a stabilizer. He is someone who makes everyone else slightly better by doing the unglamorous work correctly every time. That clarity unlocks confidence. Confidence unlocks decisiveness. Decisiveness unlocks efficiency. The chain reaction is obvious when watching the Knicks operate. With him integrated properly, possessions feel intentional, runs feel sustainable, adjustments happen naturally instead of desperately. That is the mark of a team that understands itself better. It is also the mark of a player who understands what he is. Kolek is not trying to be something he is not. He is leaning into what makes him effective. That self-awareness accelerates development more than raw talent ever could. When a player accepts his role and executes it with conviction, growth follows quickly. This is why the phrase unlocked matters. Nothing new was added. Nothing flashy was introduced. The door was always there. It just required the right alignment of trust, role, and repetition. Once those pieces clicked, the impact became undeniable. The Knicks did not stumble into something accidental. They identified a solution and committed to it. Going forward, The value is sustainability. What Kolek provides is repeatable. It does not rely on hot shooting or favorable matchups. It relies on processing, discipline, and effort. Those traits travel. They hold up under pressure. They scale with higher stakes. That is what makes this development meaningful rather than temporary. The Knicks look more coherent because one player is consistently thinking a step ahead. That does not steal shine from stars. It amplifies them. It allows scorers to focus on scoring, defenders to focus on defending. Everyone plays closer to their best version when the connective tissue is strong. Tyler Kolek has become that connective tissue, not through noise, not through force, through clarity, through trust, through doing the job exactly as it needs to be done. That is what being unlocked actually looks like. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.